check out the vaccine makers under pressure for the second day in a row after the White House says it backs waiving intellectual property rights for COVID-19 vaccine technology. Take a listen to what Moderna CEO Stéphane Bancel said about that on this morning's earnings call.
We saw the news last night, and I didn't lose a minute of sleep over the news during the night.
He didn't lose a minute of sleep over the news, but should investors? Let's bring in Oppenheimer senior healthcare analyst Hartaj Singh for more on that. Hartaj, great to have you with us. Let's say patent protection is in fact waived. What happens? What's the worst case scenario for Moderna?
Yeah, Melissa, we have to differentiate between what I call just the headline risk versus the risk to numbers, right? So the headline risk is real. It's been percolating since about October of last year when India started this asking the WHO to intercede. And now a lot of the countries have jumped on that bandwagon. So that's the headline risk. In terms of numbers, mRNA vaccines and mRNA products in general are basically the most cutting edge products being made in biotech and biopharma right now. It is literally the rocket science of biotechnology production. So even if they sort of, gave the blueprints, so to speak, and just put them out on the internet tomorrow, it would probably take, at least a year, but more likely 2 to 3 years for any company, in the world to assemble the team, the infrastructure, literally the hardware and the software to be able to make these. So I think we have to differentiate between the two things. The headline risk is real, risk to numbers, almost zero.
So basically you're saying even if they did do that, they put it out on the internet, they would still have 2 to 3 years of sales of the COVID-19 vaccine ahead of them.
Correct. And we've had other examples of this before. Genentech in the 1990s got a lead in antibody production that lasted for a few years, about 3 to 4 years, both through intellectual wherewithal and then also through just raw materials. They were able to get a supply chain going that was difficult for people to overcome. So we've seen this before. The same story is being played out in mRNA right now.
The efficacy of the vaccine, though, for a name like a Moderna was really a proof of concept moment for its platform, for its pipeline, basically, in which the pipeline is built on this mRNA platform. So if they do lose patent protection, does that impact at all the development of the pipeline? Does it jeopardize that at all? Does it give others a peek into the secret sauce, so to speak?
It could. And look, so people will catch up with them. People caught up with the United States in rocket technology, in the middle of the 20th century, right? After we had a lead for a couple of decades. People will catch up, but it just won't happen as quickly as, the street is thinking right now. Again, I've been to the manufacturing facility in Norwood a couple of years. I've been doing this for 30 years, in biotech, and I was stunned at the robotics, the hardware, the software, the intellectual bandwidth that they have with the people there that they've hired and trained. That'll be very difficult for almost any manufacturer all over the world to mimic. Pfizer and BioNTech could do it because Pfizer has a partner with BioNTech. So they've got a good 1-2 punch. But I think just throwing the blueprints out on the internet are not going to be enough.
All right, Hartaj, we're going to leave it there. Thanks so much for your insights. We appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Melissa.
Hartaj Singh, who, by the way, has a buy rating on Moderna, $206 price target. Best in class is what he calls this stock. By that logic, it should be a screaming buy here, Guy. Would you say it is?
I do. And listen, I think the technicians out there, the Carter Worst, will get concerned that we traded up to the 189 level, the prior high back in February, seemingly have failed. Obviously, this headlines didn't help, nor did, by the way, their revenue number, although EPS was pretty good this morning. I like it. I think the real level to look at is 152, which is probably $7 or $8 from where we're trading now. That's a 50% correction of that recent low and then the highs that I just cited. But I'm with, listen, you heard what the CEO said. He's not losing any sleep over it. I don't think traders or investors should either.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.